Over to Poland now, where elections will take place on Sunday. The right-wing Law and Justice Party is currently leading the polls by a considerable margin. Euronews correspondent Oliver Whitfield-Miocic is live in Warsaw for us. Morning to you, Oliver. So it's the Conservative Law and Justice Party who are leading the polls, but talk us through the others, because the Law and Justice Party are alienating some of the more moderate polls in the country.
Yes, that's right. Good morning, Rosie. It has been a hugely divisive campaign here, most of it spearheaded by that ruling, very conservative Law and Justice Party. But there are other opposition parties, other coalitions which have sprung up, and they're trying their very best, despite the opinion polling, to put up a fight to try and win more seats in this parliamentary election. Our colleague Leszek Kablak has been looking at who they are and what they stand for.
This Sunday, Poles will go to the polls to elect 460 deputies and 100 senators. Recent polls indicate that the ruling Law and Justice Party will once again prove to be the winner. In recent years, Poland has taken a turn towards more conservative politics. The ruling Law and Justice Party is leading the polls ahead of Sunday's vote, despite a growing divide in society over abortion and gay rights. In 2015, the Law and Justice Party won the first outright majority since the fall of communism. Polls suggest it may well continue to govern the country alone, but smaller parties are making gains.
What will be most interesting on the election evening is what will be the position of the fourth and fifth parties, because it can determine who will be able to build a majority after the election.
Poland has been pushed to the right as the ruling party clamped down on press freedoms and some of the checks and balances on power, which not everyone agrees with.
We want a Poland that is open, modern and tolerant. Equal opportunities in Poland, not just politics. We need competence and skills which are the keys to success. This is the vision of our Poland, a modern welfare state.
This year's election campaign saw personal attacks on the candidates as well as issues which have stoked tensions with the main opposition coalition.
The redesign of the Polish education system, the reconstruction of Polish diplomacy and the army, the creation of modern health protection, the reconstruction of the civil service, the reconstruction and improvement of independent courts. This is a precise diagnosis of the catastrophe in which Poland plunged under Kaczynski's rule.
Civic Platform is in a situation where it must respond to new ideas and the strategy imposed by the government. The only thing it can do is oppose what the government is doing now and offer new promises to the people.
The festival of election promises has been in full swing during the campaigning season. Not everyone is convinced that all the parties are able to convince voters that they will turn words into action.
Our goal is to build a Polish version of the welfare state. We must do it in this term and with God's help. If society supports us, we focus primarily on wage increases.
Not only those who benefit to a large extent from social programs, but also more affluent Poles who are going to live better under the rule of law and justice. This party presents itself as a guarantor of the development of the Polish middle class.
231 seats are needed to govern with an outright majority in Poland. The ruling Law and Justice Party is on track to pass this threshold again on Sunday.
As we've just been hearing in that report, it really is the smaller parties which will determine the makeup of the future government here. Under the Polish constitution, parties need to have at least 5% of the vote in order to get their seats in the parliament building. So if those smaller parties, Confederation, the alliance on the far right, if the Polish People's Party get their 5%, it will throw a real spanner into the works, and it could mean that the Law and Justice Party will not get an overall majority. That would be music to the ears of the LGBTQ community here in Poland, who say they have been unfairly targeted throughout this campaign and turned into almost bogeymen. But there's now a new coalition on the left which is more gay friendly, and they want to shake things up. LGBT rights are an explosive issue for religiously conservative Polish people. Pride marchers are given police protection due to the threat of violence, especially from far-right supporters. Something which has created a climate of fear for gay people in Poland.
Attacks during the marches and some attacks on the streets when you have, I don't know, red trousers, for instance, or you look like a gay person.
Unlike the majority of EU countries, civil partnerships and marriage for same-sex couples are illegal. The ruling Law and Justice Party wants to keep it that way.
Family is one woman, one man in a permanent relationship and their children.
The party's leader has also denounced homosexuality as an ideology and a threat to Polish society, a population which overwhelmingly identifies as Roman Catholic. Church figures have been scathing about LGBT people in the run-up to the election. In August, the Archbishop of Krakow, Poland's second largest city, called the gay community a rainbow plague. Some priests have reportedly been telling their congregations which politicians to support. The Polish government part funds the Catholic Church, and the subsidies have significantly increased in recent years. But a new gay-friendly political grouping wants to see the payments scrapped altogether.
Our coalition, the left, is calling for more open, tolerant and secular society. And we need to have church and state divided, us and the rest of Europe, because the church is impacting Polish politics too much for too many years.
Opinion polls show that public attitudes towards the LGBT community in Poland are slowly becoming more favourable. But for the ruling party, which is tipped to retain power, giving gay people fully equal rights is still a step too far. Now, those public attitudes and views towards the gay community really differ between the big cities of Poland and in the more rural areas. That is where the Law and Justice Party is expected to do most well. That is where the Catholic Church can have the most influence over people's minds. Now, the two key things to look out for in this election will be turnout. At the last election, it was only 51% of the country that turned out. Maybe we will see more this time. And the other thing will be to keep an eye on those smaller parties who could, and I say could cautiously, could cause an upset for the ruling party. Rosie?
Thank you, Oliver. Oliver Whitfield-Miocic live in Warsaw for us.